Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today, we are going to continue our scientific exploration of Kerbal system, and for that, we are going to return to Minmus. And we are going to explore its multiple biomes and take science from them. Namely, we are going to take surface samples and some of the observations like Mystery Goo and Science Junior. The upgrade we're doing to our ship is mostly not necessary, but we're going to do that nonetheless for the reasons because we can. Actually, the main idea is to make some kind of Apollo style lander docking thing, but unlike the Apollo lander, we are not going to land once. We're going to land, then we're going to go to other biome and then to another biome, and at some point we'll have to refuel, so we're going to place this docking port on the top of our ship and one docking port between those stages. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this nuclear stage in the orbit and land using this lander stage up top. Then we're going to use its fuel and go to the orbit again, refuel from the nuclear stage, maybe change our inclination a little bit, because the nuclear stage is much more powerful than the normal one, and then we're going to land again and gather more science. So, we're almost ready. Let's call it Minmus Science Explorer, and let's go to the launch pad. And again, our trusty launch control thingy.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Successful liftoff. Everything seems to be going fairly smoothly. Whoa! What is that? I wouldn't say what that thing reminds me of. So no, not going to work. Alright, so if our ship wobbles, what we're going to do is add struts. More struts. And even more struts. So let's strut together the orbiter and the lander stage and add a little bit more rigidity with these girder segments and even more struts. Alright, we are on the launch pad again. Let's roll up and lift off. Hopefully this time we are not going to spin around uncontrollably. Well, so far everything looks to be in order. We have a little wobble here and there, but that's okay. Looks like this amount of struts is sufficient. Although we could always have added more and more, but I don't like producing the highly strutted monsters. They are fun sometimes, but they do tend to slow down the Kerbal Space Program to a crawl. and we don't want that. So we are almost in orbit, and while we're doing our orbital maneuvering, it might be worth time to talk about our current goals for the career and what we're going to do. So, the first goal is obviously to open all the tech nodes and unlock Hall 3. This is going to be done, I think, fairly quickly. And what we're going to do afterwards? Here we have, well, couple of options. The first option is to just land on everybody in the Kerbal system, which might prove a little bit difficult because some bodies like Eve are very hard to get away from. Or we might want to establish some kind of transport network with SSTO plane going from the orbit or even from the surface of the planet Kerbal and traveling without additional stages to another planet. Maybe Lathe, or probably Lathe, because in the Lathe atmosphere we can use our jet engines, and that's basically the only planet where it is possible. I think it will be a worth a challenge, so we might do that. Of course, the traveling to Lathe and everything will also include multiple refuel stops, which will be definitely needed because we can't actually put a SSTO in orbit which has enough fuel to get to Julian orbit and back. So we will have also to create multiple space stations in the orbit of Kerbal, in orbit around Lathe, and maybe on other planets too, maybe Duna. And while we were talking about all of this, here we are, preparing for our first landing on Minmus. So let's first kill our surface velocity, or horizontal velocity, and uncontrollably fall down. Preferably not to our deaths. Let's slow our descent down a little bit. And it looks like it is not the perfect place for landing because of the slope of the Minmus surface. So let's do a little burn sideways. Maybe we can land in this flat area or somewhere close by. Why do we want to land here? Is because it's basically two biomes in one. We can take the surface sample from the biome around the flat and from the flat itself. Okay. We are landed. And it's not 100% stable. So we are going to do this crazy maneuvering stuff and land again. Hopefully this time we're going to be on more flat surface and not going to bounce around or tip over or whatever else we were doing. Careful, careful. Looks like everything is in order. So let's do the signs. Let's take the readings from our thermometer, readings from the goo container, the Science Junior, and so on and so on and so forth. Perfect style, Jebediah. 10 out of 10. Okay, let's call this Minmus Mid after the name of the biome. Let's do all other signs and return to the spaceship. Perfect. So now I'm not going to continue to showing you all of the landings because they are pretty much same. So I'm going to show you the second one, and others I'm only going to show the last moments before the touchdown and the science gathering. And this touchdown is much more gentle. So let's collect our usual scientific package and let's take Jebediah on another EVA. Wow, Jeb, you are getting better and better in these jumps. You must be some kind of athlete. So let's go, and here is our third touchdown. Again, all the science, and we can actually take the surface sample by not even leaving the spaceship. This must be a bug. So let's put Jebediah back into the cabin, and this time we notice that we don't have too much fuel, so we will have to go back to our orbiting part and refuel. So let's get into some kind of orbit which is close to the one that is being used by the fuel orbiter. That looks okay. And let's do the time warping thingy until we catch up with the proper station or just get close by. This looks perfect. All we have to do now is kill our lateral velocity and approach the docking port. Let's open the docking port on the top of the crew capsule. And it looks like we're going to be fairly close. Good. Unfortunately, we can't turn our fuel vessel because it lacks any kind of electric charge, as it doesn't have any batteries. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly rotate around it. Thankfully enough, it is kind of stable and doesn't want to rotate uncontrollably on its own. So it's very easy to do the actual docking maneuver here. All we have to do is align our heading and make sure that the target marker on the nav wall is pointing the same way as our ship. Boom. That was fairly easy. Alright, now let's change our trajectory and do the polar orbit around the Minmus, because we want to catch the signs from the poles. And for that, our nuclear engine is perfect, because it doesn't burn the fuel as fast as other kind of engine. Alright, this is our maneuver node, and let's do the burn. And recently, I've been watching different kinds of YouTube videos, mainly about the Kerbal Space Program, And I found this very interesting video by Scott Manley, and he was doing the EVA return from Minmus. Very interesting feat. It's actually very easy to accomplish. The only problem we currently have is that in a vanilla version, Kerbonauts don't have parachutes, and they tend to blow up when they hit the Kerbin too fast. But when I was doing things in my test universe, as in this kind of pocket universe where laws of physics are a bit different and nothing is permanent, I managed to bring the Kerbin back from the EVA, landed him on Minmus, and then brought him with the EVA pack back to Kerbin. But of course he didn't land safely and was killed in the tragic accident. But as you can see, Jebediah is actually here and nothing happened in this universe. And along the way, we are going for our 4th landing and the science collection. Let's plant another flag, call it Minmus Flats. Or no, it was Pole. Flats are here. This is going to be the 5th and final landing of this craft. And Jebediah is doing another cartwheel, or how this figure is called. Let's plant the flag, call this one Minmus Flats. And let's get back into the spaceship. All we have to do now is do the latest check so that we have all the reports and we can safely start going home. So let's just launch. And at first I thought, yeah, we are going to burn east as usual, but no. Currently we are facing away from Kerbin, so let's just burn retrograde directly from the surface of Minmus, and it will bring us back home. Yes, a little bit of overkill, and yes, we still have fuel in the orbit, but we only lack, I think, 2 biomes, and I'm not 100% sure where they are. So let's head back home. We can always return later with more advanced equipment and better spaceship to make sure that we get all the signs. And we're happily falling down. Parachutes are deployed. And touchdown. Let's recover our vessel. I wonder how much science we will have. And look at that. We got 1600 science from the Minmus only. And we didn't even have half of the instruments which are available. That sounds absolutely amazing. With all that science, we will be able to go even further and do even more science. But this will happen in the next episodes. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike and comment this video in the section below. My name is Darlock and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.